Hey everybody, it's Daniel here from Mobile Syrup, and today we're taking a look at the HTC One V from Bell. And this is a very inexpensive device, around $300 outright, $0 on a 3-year term. A very easy entry point into the market. It is the lower end version of the One series that includes the One S and the One X. Those are significantly larger and more expensive. Now this is nothing to dismiss, however, even though the specs are not that high. There's a really nice design. Harkens back to the HTC Legend, which in my opinion was a very unappreciated Android phone at the time. You can see it's got that chin there that made the Legend famous and very attractive. It's made of a single piece of aluminum, very nice and sturdy design for such an inexpensive device. It's got an excellent 5-megapixel camera with f2.0 aperture for excellent depth of field and low light capture. It's got an LED flash. It has an 800 by 480 resolution 3.5-inch display, which is really nice and sharp, and it's got a 1 gigahertz single-core processor with 512 megs of RAM, 4 gigs of internal storage, and a 1500 milliamp hour non-removable battery. What is removable, however, is this lower portion here, much like the Legend. Full-size SIM card slot, micro SD slot that is not populated, so you're going to want to get your own SD card there because there's very little internal storage here for movies, music, and video and photos and stuff. So even out of the box, you can't even capture a screenshot. It doesn't let you because there's such little storage. So just keep that in mind when you are purchasing this phone. You will want to invest in an 8 or 16 gigabyte micro SD card. They're not expensive, but it's not included. That definitely keeps down the price for HTC. But we would have liked to have seen a little bit more in there. So what does this include? It actually has an extremely nice display. It's 800 by 480, 256 pixels per inch, so not the highest resolution, but it's very sharp. Excellent viewing angles you can see here. You can see the colors do not fade at all, change their design, change their luminance when you move the phone from either side. Really nice, very comfortable to hold. You can see that the chin allows you to use the phone on your face. It contours it really nicely. It's not too big. You can see that I can reach the top of the device very easily with my thumb, which you can't do on a lot of other devices. And if you just want to bear with me here, I have the HTC One X, and you can see just how much bigger the One X is than the One S and the One V. It's massive, 4.7 inches to 3.5 inches. So if you're one of those people who doesn't like a huge phone, the One V is actually going to be right up your alley. So what does it have included? It's actually Android 4.0.3. This is the same version as the HTC One X. It uses Sense 4.0. So everything there is pretty similar. I found that performance is actually really snappy for such an older processor. They've done a great job of keeping performance really nice and smooth. You can see that through the menus here. Everything works really well. If you want to, say, load up a website, it loads it pretty quickly. The phone does not support anything higher than HSPA Plus, which is 14 megabits a second down and 5 megabits up. So this is not an LTE device, of course, but that'll definitely improve battery life for you if you're worried about it. The other thing that HTC's done is they've removed those 3 buttons, the directional arrows from the bottom of the keyboard. Obviously, there's not enough real estate there. I prefer that, actually, and I would have preferred to see it removable on the One X. So this is a better keyboard, in my opinion, easier to type on than the One X. What they did do, however, and something that will be a point of contention for a lot of people, is let's go into Twitter here just to demonstrate this. So with the One X, the menu button is on the bottom here. So if there's a legacy app that the One X does not that hasn't been updated for Android 4.0 with the little action menu here at the top or the bottom, those 3 dots that you have been seeing more and more on Android 4.0 devices, there's a virtual button here that comes on the bottom on the One X that allows you to activate the menu. Obviously, with a device this size, that's not a possibility because that would just take up too much room. So what did HTC decide? Well, they decided that you will activate the menu button by holding down the multitasking button, which in my opinion is ridiculous, because it's much more, you're going to be pressing the menu button much more often than pressing the multitasking button, which allows you to go between apps. In my opinion, they should have done what Samsung is doing and using either holding down on the home button to activate the multitasking menu and then maintaining the menu button, the dedicated menu button there, but I'm sure they didn't want to risk alienating users of the One S and the One X by changing up the menu style. So I understand that, but at the same time it's a little bit frustrating to have to hold down the menu button, the multitasking button, to activate the menu every time you want to do this. That takes an extra beat or two, and even though it may not seem like very much, it definitely takes away from the overall user experience. Now, that's just a little gripe that I have. I'm sure that you'll get used to it as soon as you start using the phone. What comes with this phone? Well, it's loaded with a bunch of Bell stuff. 2 Gameloft games. We have Uno and we have Block Breaker 3, which is really nice. Comes with Dropbox integration. Anybody who uses this phone gets an increase of 23 gigabytes into their Dropbox account for a total of 25 gigabytes. That's really nice. Although Samsung did one-up HTC by including 50 gigabytes with their Galaxy S3. This, however, is going to be 1/3 of the price, so or half the price. So that's a nice bonus. You get things from HTC like the updated gallery. We have a new messages app here, which is really nice. As I said, the keyboard is pretty good. I actually enjoy the HTC keyboard more than any other manufacturers, although I wasn't able to get used to the One X version because of those directional arrows. The mail client is really nice, and it supports Enterprise. You can see that it supports Microsoft Exchange ActiveSync. You can load Bell and Simpatico email addresses as well right from the get-go. Let's go into the settings here and just to take a quick look through everything. So if you go into mobile network, you can see that that it supports WCDMA and GSM. So there's no LTE support here. In terms of other features, it's got identical feature set to the One X. You can actually start a portable hotspot and tether using this device. You have Wi-Fi Direct, which allows you to connect to other devices without going through a router, which is really nice. You can check your data usage, which is something that was added to Android 4.0. And you can change your APNs and stuff like that. If you go into personalize here, you can change your different skins. So HTC's loaded a few nice skins. There's Serene and Aluminum. If we apply those, you can see that it changes the look of the entire OS. The OS itself, however, is still Android 4.0 running Sense 4. You can see that this is a customizable dock that has now been changed from Sense 3.6 and 3.5. The horizontal application menu here is really nice and smooth. Actually, I found no performance problems at all. When I ran SunSpider on Chrome, I got a 3500 millisecond performance, which is about half of what the One X gets, but considering this is a single core 1 gigahertz Snapdragon processor from 2 generations ago, I am really impressed with the overall performance. In terms of the camera, you can see my trusty, I hope you can see that, my trusty Optimus Prime action figure there that I use for all my photos. You can see that taking photos is really simple, and you can hold it down. Let me just turn up the sound here. So you can see how quickly it captures photos. You can go scroll through those photos. It's really nice and smooth. So the picture quality itself is probably not as good as the One X and the One S because this is a 5 megapixel sensor, but the performance is equally good and the interface is identical. You can see you have quick access to your different filters here. You can apply a country filter, you can apply a mono filter, you can apply dots, depth of field, things like that. So quirky things that you may not be able to find in Instagram. I prefer just the regular no effect filter, which is more true to life. You also have access to your flash. You can change your Video quality here, maximum video quality is 720p, so this is also a limitation of the CPU. If you go into the menu, you can see you can change things like ISO, white balance, exposure, sharpness, contrast, saturation, etc. You can also turn on and off continuous shooting if you don't want to take 20 shots in a few seconds. You can also turn on and off auto upload, which you can use to select a service such as Facebook or Flickr. Dropbox also supports auto upload to its own service through the app. You can also select different scenes. You can take HDR photos, panorama photos very easily. You can scroll on a horizontal plane to try and perfect that panorama photo. You actually get really nice results. The f2.0 aperture allows for pretty good shots in low light. Not as good as the 1X, and certainly not as good as some of the upper end versions, upper end cameras on the market, like the Samsung Galaxy S2 and Samsung Galaxy S3 and the iPhone 4S, but it's pretty good nonetheless. In order to take 720p video, you can just tap on that video button, and you can even take photos while you're recording video, which is really nice. Overall, this is actually a really useful little phone, and performs fantastically compared to some of the other lower end devices running Android 2.3, 2.2. This coming with Android 4.0 out of the box is a huge advantage. It also supports some apps that a lot of older devices don't, such as Chrome for Android, which is a huge boon for purchasing this device, and something that I would definitely recommend over an older device. Something that Bell includes here is its mobile TV app, and it's a $5 for 5 hours a month. I think there's a promotion right now that bundles 5 hours into most of the data plans. You can see it loads really quickly, and it supports a lot of different live video streams. So you can get CTV News Channel, and you can turn it on its side just like the YouTube app, and to get full screen. So you have CTV, BNN, CTV2, MTV, TSN, TSN2, and CBC. Lots of other good stuff. You can also get some on-demand stuff, including HBO, CBC, and all that other, all those other good, good channels, such as the Comedy Network, that you can't really get on demand any other way. So this is a pretty good content solution. Not the greatest selection, and it's a little bit expensive in my opinion. Five hours for $5 is kind of high, but it's also, you know, it's Bell's services and it's Bell's phones, so it's vertical integration. You get the choice, and therefore you have to pay for it. You can always choose not to. In terms of overall performance, I would say that this is much better than the equivalent phone that was released with the same processor last year. You know, this processor was in devices such as the HTC Incredible S, the Desire HD, lots of other kind of last generation devices, but those were high-end devices at the time, whereas this is debuting in the low end. You can see that the overall ergonomics of the phone are excellent, and for the price, I don't think you can get much better than this. So if you're looking for a low-end version of an Android 4.0 device, look no further than the HTC One V. So this has been Daniel from Mobile Syrup. Thank you so much for watching.